World Championships. Now, this is really the be-all, end-all. This is the final chance for every player that we have left in our 1v1 Duel Qualifier. Sacrifice has already been decided a couple of weeks ago at this point to find out the teams that are making it to regionals. But on the subject of regionals, there are 8 more players in our Duel 1v1 that are lying in wait to see who's going to qualify for those regionals. Now, before we get started, let's quickly show you guys the journey that these players have had up until this point.
So as you can see, these dates that have all been and gone already. We've had our 4 individual Duel qualifiers, and just to sort of refresh the memories of any of you guys watching at home, every Thursday we'd play down to our top 16, and then on the weekend we'll play down through to our final 8, which means that today, for the final time for EU, we'll be having 8 games back to back. Every single winner of these matches, it's do or die. You win, you make it through to the regional finals as the last match, and if you lose, that is it. Your journey in the Quake World Championships in Duel is over already, 4 weeks in. I say already, but it's been a fast 4 weeks. And it's been a busy 4 weeks.
It's been a very quick turnaround. It's gone from, in the span of essentially just a month, and Quake Champions in itself is a really new, sort of like hot off the press game in itself.
It's in its early stages for sure, but that hasn't stopped people from putting in ridiculous amounts of time. Like some of these players, we'll actually list some of the players we've got today momentarily, but a lot of these players and names that you'll be hearing are obviously established Quake players that have been around for a very, very long time. But at the very least, they have been playing constantly in both Sacrifice and Duel. A lot of these names have already qualified for Sacrifice and have yet to do so for Duel. Like, for example, we know Zoot and a few players like that that are in this top 16 today that have come close to getting to that sort of final top 8, but have unfortunately sort of fallen that final hurdle. This is their last opportunity to do so after all that time.
Quite a few of these players have been in this top 16 situation before, so they really need to they're clearly skilled enough to be at the stage where top 16 is a possibility, but now is their chance to really step up the game and try and take it even further, because as we said earlier on, there is no other opportunity past this. If you don't make it today, your journey is going to be done, and that's all she wrote for the Quake World Championships. So the players that we have coming up today, I'm going to list some of these matches and you'll see them throughout the course of the day, but our first match is going to be Zoot versus Gaiia. So Zoot is going to be back in this top 16. He was actually top 16 in week number 1, commentating week number 3, so he wasn't able to enter every single week, but he's back here in week number 4, looking to try and take this one. Some of our other matches, we have Buckster versus Chronic, Evil versus Pavel. That's going to be a match I'm really excited to, because Pavel clutched out at the last possible moment, and Evil in himself, this is his first week entering the World Championships for Quake. You know, he hasn't really entered the other 3 weeks as far as we're aware, so that's going to be interesting to see if he can...
This is going to be a big week for Evil. I'm sure this is about exactly what you're about to say.
Exactly, yeah, for sure.
But this was his only week. This is the only time in the 4 weeks that Evil was able to actually enter the qualifiers. And we actually saw a match from him before in sort of the later stages of the event on Thursday, where he was looking as dominant as ever. So I thoroughly expect him to do well today. I'm pretty sure that's a safe assumption. I'm pretty sure the majority of the people watching will kind of expect Evil to take that. But Pavel by himself had a really close game, but I believe so on Thursday as well, which sort of really went down to the absolute wire.
It was last minute. It really was last map.
So that's going to be a good one to watch for sure. But who else do we have playing?
So, yeah, Evil versus Pavel, Memphis versus Luke, i.e., Luminous versus Latromi, Cephas versus Hell. Hell is back. He's been in this top 16 quite a few times.
And also looked really good on Thursday.
Yeah, but he hasn't, again, he still hasn't been able to quite make that next stage into the top 8. We have Proximo versus Backstein and Karwick versus Jox. So quite a few faces here that are consistent, and that's pretty much what we expected at this stage, where there are players that have been trying week after week after week. They've not quite been able to get it, and this is their chance to really try and get it for the final chance. You know, that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Now, Zoot in particular, he's got a very distinct playstyle. It's very hit and run heavy. The team is always Anarchy, Nyx, and Ranger without fail. He seems to sort of be able to take that team across all 4 of the maps, and that team does work well on every single map. There really is no map where it feels like he has a disadvantage, right? Because you can go Nyx, or all 3 of those champions you can go first, and they'll all work really well. So if you're on something like Blood Covenant, for example, all 3 of those champions can move around. On something like Sarnath, you have a lot of freedom to sort of play that defensive game, like Anarchy in particular, where if Anarchy manages to get that really early frag and he's got the champion advantage, it's quite easy for him to run around. The question is, Gaia's champion pool has been a little bit more diverse as we've been watching him play in both Sacrifice and Duel.
So we expect Zoot to pick that sort of tried and true 3 that we've seen
there
before, Ranger being the first. We kind of expect Anarchy and Nyx to follow, but ultimately ultimately, Ranger and Nyx was, I believe, the most popular pair we saw on Thursday. These two champions by themselves being very popular. And Gaiia has been running that Sorlag before as well, so definitely a comfortable champion for him. And it looks like Blood Run is, considering these are all the same round games, I predict that Blood Run is going to be the first map for all of these today.
Correct. As the map process is a predetermined map, depending on the stage of the tournament, and because this is round of 16, every match that we are going to see.
Hang on a minute. Wait a minute. Foregoing the Anarchy for Galena this time. Okay, that's interesting.
That's the first time I've seen Zoot in a competitive setting. That is the first time I've seen Zoot pick a team composition that isn't that. But it's also his Anarchy is not on the team. And Anarchy really has been kind of like his premier champion. It's the champion he's done the most work with.
This could simply be a map thing, because Galena on Blood Run, we have seen do, I would say, the most success on this map, particularly.
Pavel on Thursday.
Of course, and Pavel was just one player that has been putting Galena to amazing use on Blood Run specifically. And I think a big part of it could be the general use of teleporters. There's two teleporters, both are very prominent for getting around sort of to that sort of center area where a lot of the fighting happens. But both of them will get you near heavy armor. Both of them will sort of get you near that upper floor of that center stage, right? And if you've got totems in place on these teleporters that you basically have to take just to get around quickly and be able to keep up with the power-up control, all of a sudden totems now kind of stop you from doing that.
But at the same time, it's also, without even, in some ways, you might not even need a totem to enforce the threat. If you know the totem is likely to be somewhere, it's quite a risk.
Well, even playing as Galena, right? Even if you don't have a totem there, just playing as Galena makes that threat. And wow, we're fighting straight away. 5 seconds, we can have our first frag. Wow, Zoot with the aggression immediately.
That was a fantastic start. They both really fought for that mega health. Zoot coming off better in that exchange. And already Zoot's got himself a railgun. Has got really good accuracy with that rail, but he's took a lot of damage already.
Oh, this is actually a very explosive start. I kind of expected this to be a bit more calm today, but Zoot really bringing it to Gaiia, and just less than a minute into this first round, we already find ourselves with Zoot with the champion advantage.
There's not going to be a huge amount Zoot can do to contest that mega health, so he's going to have to give it up. Unfortunately, with the low amount he had versus a Sorlag, it kind of just creates that divide even bigger, really. But using the die roll to try and be a little bit safer. Does manage to get away, and a nice use of the rocket jump to get away there. Minimal damage because of the passive on Ranger. Ooh, swapping to the rocket launcher right as he peeked his face. You know that was a rail that Zoot definitely would have taken.
Once again, you can hear him. You can definitely hear him going around. Definitely heard that armor getting picked up. Question is, where is he going to go? I think Zoot just trying to control his power-ups. There we go. Oh no, unfortunately he misses a rocket, and Gaiia gets the mega health for free. Heavy armor going to be up in just a few seconds though. Does Zoot try and go straight for it, or does he can just control here? You know, it's there. Always have to be so careful going for this heavy armor, because you never know when these rockets or rails even going to start flying in.
It was definitely much safer to go for it there, because Zoot clearly, you know, he heard that he was quite far away, so it's going to be quite a safe pickup. But already Zoot is going to be able to play that defensive game. He's got a champion advantage. Ranger, very fast champion, even though he's kind of got like those sort of default stats. He's got good speed.
Makes you wonder if Zoot's actually like almost like happy for that mega health to go to Gaiia in that situation, so he can get that damage down. Almost like nullify that additional health it's going to give him.
Oh, nice catch.
Oh, that was a big direct one. He's going to see that. He goes straight in with the lightning gun, and Gaiia falls down too. Oh, there we go. That armor pickup and the health pool. Yes, Zoot is able to just ever so slightly survive that. Ticking damage, very threatening, but Zoot able to get a few pickups to keep himself alive.
It's been a very good start for Zoot so far. Now Gaia's down to the visor. He's going to have that piercing sight, but
the problem is though, visor against this champion lineup, I'm not quite sure this comeback's going to be difficult. I mean, I kind of never want to say it's not impossible considering how many full comebacks we actually have seen over the past 4 weeks, but visor definitely one of those more difficult champions to make it happen.
This is quite a good call from Zoot, actually. Deny the rocket launcher from Gaiia, because he's going to have a rail at the stage, of course, but when you're an individual champion, unless you're a champion that really thrives off a certain weapon, like Clutch with a rocket, for example, you kind of need that trinity of LG, you know, railgun and rocket together if you're by yourself. Zoot can take those away. He's in a great position.
Very quickly able to get himself back up to 100 health though, that's super important.
3 minutes.
Wow, he had the jump on him, Gaiia. Wasn't quite looking at him.
Surprised he actually didn't catch him, because he was looking straight ahead at that point. But we have 2 minutes left at this round. Zoot can definitely control this if he wants to do it, but trying to stay alive for 2 minutes is definitely a little bit of a...
Yeah, Gaiia really favouring kind of just trying to be careful and staying up there at this point, it seems.
Oh, he missed the teleport, so unfortunately he doesn't manage to get the Mega. Doesn't matter too much. Gaiia doesn't run towards it. Probably thought moving towards it would have given him a free rail, because it would have been a bit too obvious, but could have been quite costly, missing the dire orb.
Great
on that
start
Mega.
from Zoot, though. Thoroughly in control of that match the entire time. I think really all spanned off the 5-second frag, right? That immediate advantage he gave himself. Basically meant that Zoot could afford to play the game exactly how he wanted to. As long as he didn't lose his champion in the process, he was going to be okay to do that.
Well, you know that guy is going to look to try and rectify that a little bit. Doesn't want another bad start. Going out with losing one of your champions already is... It's always a horrendous way to start a round because it's such a disadvantage.
But it wasn't even just that. Zoot wasn't even, didn't even come close really to being knocked off his Ranger. So we haven't even had a chance to see his Nyx or the Galena yet.
It's quite good that he's gone for Ranger first as well because of this map in particular. Blood Run is such an... And that was a really good rocket.
He's going to know he's done a lot of
96.
damage here too, trying to chase him down. Oh, wow. That lucky jump from Guy saves him away from a lot of trouble. Oh no, Zoot in a bit of a predicament here. Ooh.
That missed rail. Quite a costly mistake, but Guy actually with a nice capitalization. A couple of missed shots there from Zoot. Tried to really use the passive of less self-damage to safely get away from that heavy armor, but wasn't quite enough.
The attempt, but Guy just came off better in that. The Ghost Walk is forced out of Zoot, otherwise he was going to take a lot of damage there. Oh no, mistimed the power up, and it's going to go towards Gaiia, and Zoot very low now. He's getting chased down. Wow, that was actually really smart from Gaiia. Literally just moves into one escape option and then just covers the other option with rockets, kind of just making sure both are covered at the same time. And that's exactly what he needed. And a quick turnaround, Guy, looking to quickly tie things up.
Oh, the tide can change if you don't have a horrendous start, but Zoot down to his Galena. Now, having Galena as the final pick can be a bit tough because when you take her first, for example, she kind of has that small amount of free space before everyone gets their weapons and they get completely stacked, where you can set up those totems in weird places. And right there, if you catch her on a spawn and she's not really able to set up, you're kind of forced to having to use the totem as extra damage rather than any kind of traps, which she thrives on this map for sure. But there we go.
Indeed. I mean, we have seen Galena comebacks before, but it really stems off just getting that successful first frag and having a little bit of downtime to kind of get yourself set up where you need to be. And unfortunately, he just wasn't able to do that there. Guy a little bit too on top of things.
And missed rail is going to give Gaiia a little bit of free LG as well. Trying to really match him. Doesn't quite get the dire orb though. Hits the platform.
We're actually seeing both players fumble quite a few of those dire orbs at this point. Maybe there's a little bit of nerves showing through. Let's not forget, this is both these guys' last opportunity to qualify.
It's quite
going to be quite punished.
It's quite an underestimated element. Is the amount of stress that some players can feel.
Especially if you're playing first. You know, I mean, we've got some players that are kind of waiting in line and won't play for some hours yet, but these guys getting it done right immediately, first thing in the morning. But yeah, we got to see Guy trying to stop him from teleporting to that heavy armor.
He also
keep him away.
Doesn't want to risk teleporting to it and taking an unnecessary frag. Losing the Ranger early is what cost him that first round. So
and it was in a similar setting too, because he went for the heavy armor and sort of lost it in the same situation.
If he can avoid being in that situation, all the better. Wasn't able to quite stop that. Zoot's going to safely get away with that heavy armor. Stacking up is one thing though, but catching a good position to take the fight is another. It's almost like stacking up is the initial stage, and you still got to be able to sort of engage in that fight and come off better. Yeah, no doubt Gaiia heard that teleport. Not going to chase him, but...
Oh wow, nice quick shot. Oh, follow-up missed.
Oh, there you go. Zoot didn't miss that one though. So if you miss your rail but then eat another, got to get out of that situation. Trying to run away, but...
Zoot able to get that heavy armor. Mega coming up soon. Well, fight's breaking out.
They're both
the missing rail.
Yeah, relatively even damage, but Mega Health's going to see to that. Zoot tried to go in for the steal. The rail connects. Zoot loses Ranger again. That's Nyx. So I wonder if he's going to consistently go for Galena as that third pick. I'm not sure with Nyx and Ranger on hand, he's ever going to go with her first instead.
Oh my lord. Wow, Guy with that prediction. Immediately knowing he was going to get the rail. I mean, let's not forget, Zoot is really a big fan of that rail generally. He usually is very much on the mark when it comes to hitting those in those clutch situations. And Gaiia, I suppose, recognizing that that's what Zoot really wants to go for. And another big hit on that rocket. Zoot is in trouble now.
He's making a lot of good decisions on what power-up Zoot's going to try and collect, but he comes off better in that rocket exchange.
But that's that kind of essential situation that you need to start off with Galena. Zoot is able to get that immediate frag now, has access to a full health and now overstacked armor. And versus Sorlag too, the heal from Galena's totem is going to do a great job of just stopping that acid damage, if he can obviously have it at the time.
I feel like we're going to see Zoot save it for that reason, though. If he gets caught off guard, and actually, no, going in for a little bit of area denial, but here comes the LG. Gaiia actually pressing the advantage completely. Misses the rail. He no doubt would have got the frag there, but I love that denial totem, actually, not allowing Gaiia to press too far ahead, because if you walk right into that, it's a true 50 damage.
But here's one of those strengths of Galena. We saw how much damage Zoot took there, but was able to immediately get himself back up to full health, but because she gets that cooldown on those health pickups,
definitely didn't see him behind that wall at all. Now he's going to have to retreat. There's the heal on the totem again. Stands there for quite a while, does the totem, so...
Well, especially when you put it next to existing pickups, you're almost getting yourself back up to full health no matter what you collect. Okay, it all just comes down to making sure those totems stay alive. In this 1v1 situation, if Gaiia opts to destroy them on sight, he's going to let Zoot know where he is.
It's going to be quite an ask at this stage. Actually, he might be able to take out the Sorlag at this point because he caught a really nice mid-air rocket.
Oh,
that
but
was
the defensive rocket from Gaiia.
I felt that was just a good decision to go for that defensive rocket there, because I understand why Zoot pressed the advantage, because he got a bunch of damage there. He got a grounded rocket, managed to combine that with the totem as well. If he was going to let Gaiia run away, there was only a minute and a half left of the round. So if you let Gaiia run away and stack back up in any degree, having a situation that good where you can fight was unlikely. So he kind of had to go in there. But Gaiia with the prediction, no reason really not to spray that rocket just to cover his base, and Zoot unfortunately running straight into it. But almost a lose-lose there.
I mean, what's the cost of wasting a few rockets at the sort of reward of maybe winning the round? And that's exactly what we saw. Definitely worth a try at very least. Oh, but Zoot makes a good read on where Gaiia is going to be, but quite close to health here, so it isn't going to matter too much. Has lost quite a lot of his armor though. Heavy armor coming up soon. You can see Zoot really doesn't want Gaiia to pick this up.
Doesn't teleport to it. Doesn't want to overextend. That's the thing. It's quite a all or nothing when you teleport to a dire orb when your opponent is right there, because you've lost your escape option. So if it doesn't go right and you've teleported into death, you can't really get away from it. So you've got to be committed to that decision.
Really want, I suppose, see over this health, but there we go. Another fight starting here. LG trades. No teleport. Yeah, Zoot being careful.
At this stage, you take no chances, but here we go again. 36 health. Wasn't going to be enough to tank that rocket. Zoot has managed to get the Ranger off Gaiia again.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Zoot gets the spawn. He knows that Gaiia isn't going to have many weapons here. Is he going to chase this down? Brady's going to pick up the rail to deny it from Gaiia for a little while, but looks like Gaia's quite content to just avoid until he can get some more equipment.
Another good start for Zoot. He was able to win that first round because he got the Ranger out of Gaiia really early, so you wonder if he can repeat it again. That grounded rocket's going to be a good start, and a triple combo as well. 2 rockets in a rail. Great way to take out a Sorlag, especially if you've got that much health.
Zoot plays a lot more comfortably when he gets a good start. Seems to, I don't want to say struggle to make a comeback, but definitely sort of plays a bit more confidently when you know he has sort of that lead. And especially when he does it early. Like, Zoot seems to be good at getting the snowball rolling early on in the round and keeping it going for the whole time. Because we're not even halfway through this round, and Zoot is already one champion away from tying things up. And this is very similar to how he took the first round too.
Well, it's not that Zoot is incapable of making comebacks by any degree. He did make a fantastic comeback in his final round of qualifying on Thursday, and yeah, that was very clean execution right there. So it's 2-2. Our first map of the day is going to go down to the final round.
Or maybe this is
foreshadowing, I think.
Maybe this is generally how Zoot likes to play, though. Because let's not forget, he has Galena here, but his team normally is Ranger, Nyx, and Anarchy. And Anarchy very much being one of those champions that you stick in front of your team, and you can just start to become a big problem very fast if you're not sort of kept in check. He's kind of playing Ranger in a similar style.
That high mobility, trying to sort of heavily defensive game when you've got the advantage of champions. It's definitely a game plan that Ranger can play too. And he's going to be less suspect to, or subject to, getting railed on spawn, because he has 100 health, 75 armor. Higher stats in general. Oh wow, a clean direct though. Yeah, that was a fantastic rocket bait. He was catching those rockets as well. Dire orb just get, and that's a huge element there too, is the fact that you can dire orb to be great. Something that really only he can do. So it's an element of mobility that he gets exclusively.
It's just a way to safely pick it up. I mean, I say safely, in a more safe fashion. Safer at the very least. Especially if you can tell that Gaia's used his orb and cannot chase him down immediately. But a lot of damage coming out here. Gaiia misses that rail. That would have been death. And the dire orb doesn't quite connect, but 10 health.
He commits, but there we go. They go for the 2 dire orbs. Gaia's That was a big commitment, but it paid off.
That would have been an amazing turnaround if zoot was able to get that frag, but Gaiia just able to keep himself just a little bit better in that situation.
That looked like it didn't miss at all.
I mean, Zoot's gonna have to be careful now because this is very much not the way his other rounds have gone, and he peeked around the corner instantly.
That was such a shot. That was a really good shot. Even Zoot giving him the props. Understandable, but
yeah, good
unfortunately Zoot is down to his final champion. So he's going to have to be really careful here that he has to make that 3 straight comeback.
He has the time to do it, but Guy getting a lot of damage here, but there we go, a massive amount of damage coming through from Zoot.
No!
Oh boy.
Just walked around the corner, face first. But I think in that stage, because the other 2 rounds were when Zoot had a good start, but when he was on the back foot, wasn't quite able to recover. So in that final round where he lost those 2 champions and was down to his Galena, it's almost like a matter of history repeating itself where he wasn't able to recover from that as well. So Blood Run was the map we saw Galena. No doubt, so far, Sarnath seems to be the map that he picks quite a lot. So I'd be surprised if we didn't see him go with Sarnath. And if he does go on Sarnath, he's likely to bring out the Anarchy, I would say.
I kind of expected him to see him go back to the Anarchy choice, because even though his Galena didn't really look bad, like he clearly had put some time into it to get it ready for that. And like I said before, we've already seen how impactful Galena can be on Blood Run. The fact that Ruins is something that he's had so much success on with Anarchy particularly is, I kind of expect him to go back to it. And it not even just like a map champion combination. Like you said, Anarchy is just the champion that has been crucial and core to his team for the longest time. And when he effectively has 1 map left to go, potentially just to keep him still in the tournament, it makes you wonder if he's going to be willing to bet that without going for his tried and true composition.
Now, this situation that Zoot finds himself in right now, and this will be a running theme throughout the day, basically, with every player that finds himself down that first map. It's quite a stressful situation because you're down a map and you've got to win this next one to try and make it 2-1 in your favor, because then it will go down to a game 3. But there's 1 map and potentially 3 rounds that decides whether you are still in the Quake World Championship or whether you're gone for good. That is a lot to take in a short space of time.
They're going to have to use this downtime in between maps well, let me tell you. Because we've already seen how fast the champion draft can sort of just go by when they're really just deciding what to go with, and obviously the order and the way it goes. And Ruins of Sarnath is going to be Zoot's choice, so kind of expected to see that. And we're predicting Zoot to go back to his sort of, again, tried and true 3 years, starting off with Anarchy. Whether or not we'll see the other 2, I guess we'll find out soon. But Gaiia also returning with Anarchy as well. Let's not forget, Anarchy is powerful on this map for sure. I mean, that's one of his strongest runaway style for sure, and has a lot of space to move.
Really is one of his strongest maps in Duel, I think. But Gaiia going back in for Visor, also Zoot sticking with that really traditional composition.
Ooh.
Now we see Galena picked again, but Ruins is another good map for Galena because, once more, jump pads, teleporters, lots of areas where she can deny. And I was actually going to say this before we went into Blood Run. Knowing that you're against a Galena can make you doubt going for a teleporter, even if you don't know that there is a totem there. So the fact that by just being Galena, your opponent's mobility options in terms of how they're going to move around the map has now become a bit more limited, because it's 75 damage when you stand on a totem. So if you're someone like Anarchy who's just spawned, or Nyx who's just spawned, and you use a teleporter, you're dead immediately if you've got no armor. So that's quite a risk. You risk your entire life by using that 1 teleporter. Is it worth it? Probably not. Let's move on and take a more traditional route. That in itself is going to just deny how they can move around the map, even without you doing anything.
I think it depends at what point the Galena is played. Because if Galena is played last, by the time Galena spawns, you're probably gonna have control of the map at the time. You're gonna be aware of what the times are.
That only really applies when she's first, I think.
If she's first and can get that first frag and start to really become a threat, then that's definitely the case. And I can't imagine we'll be seeing much of her.
Round 1, fight.
I'm sorry if Gaiia is late to work. Well, man's playing for a $1 million pot. Understandable.
Also, Gaiia sort of foregoing the Sorlag pick this time, so not going to have access to that sort of larger health pool, but whether he can put Galena to similar use.
The larger health pool really helped him out. On Blood Run specifically, she has that amazing ability to take the middle of the map and just spray acid everywhere. So if you're within the middle of the map, you're probably going to start taking that and taking damage regardless. but this time they've both gone with Anarchy first. Not really surprised to see this at all. It is one of his strongest maps. When you pick him first, he can get that early lead. Going in for the injection, unfortunately, doesn't manage to get anything off of it. When you're point blank and you try and use the injection to just stay alive, you are still majorly at risk because you just can't fire while you're in the middle of that animation. So if you're taking rockets for days, you're probably going to die anyway. And the surprise! No, they trade it out. But, I mean, that was an interesting exchange right there, but beneficial for Gaiia. He still has that champion advantage.
Trade certainly in Gaia's favor. Gone in for the visor too, knowing that Zoot only had Nyx left. And that piercing sight obviously going to be tracking that Ghost to Walk as soon as Zoot pops it, so it's not going to be as useful as escape option. Oh my lord, or a quick direct rocket to just one-shot Nyx. Damn, how about that?
He didn't even need to do damage and then keep the piercing sight to track the initial movement. He just got that midair, saw around the corner, and that was all he needed.
I'm sure the rocket hit Nyx and not the stairs.
2.
I'm just going to say, it definitely looked like it connected to Nyx on our screen.
Unless it hit her foot, which was on the floor.
Maybe the
so
foot was
close.
on the stairs. Maybe we're both right.
Well, they've both gone in for Anarchy again. I'd be surprised if we see this start change up.
I mean, Zoot has to be careful from this point on, though. I mean, very much on the back foot now. 1 round down already, just a couple minutes in that first round, and Zoot now 2 rounds away from being eliminated.
That's a lot to factor in. You've got to have good mental composure in this state. The problem is, if you're really nervous or are nervous in any degree because of the pressure, it will affect your accuracy. Here comes Gaiia.
I have to be careful now, though. 75 health, no armor.
Oh, wow. Rocket almost connected.
Oh, see the little pillar in the middle sort of sponging that rail.
The Anarchy rocket duel was always going to be such an interesting exchange because of that ground immobility, and there we go. Even though he had the injection, that will still not save you from a rail. Even a rail that isn't charged will do 80 damage. And because it takes a while for you to use enough injections to get 81, if you've got no armor, you will get one shot by a rail, whether you like it or not.
So almost having to kill Anarchy twice in that situation. Land the first one, getting him down slow, but another fight breaking out straight away. Lightning gun damage coming through. Oh, Gaiia tries to get tricky with the gauntlet, but not going to work this time. Zoot not going to fall for it 2 rounds back to back.
I feel like because he caught Gaiia so early, Gaiia kind of had to try and do that because I don't think he had any other weapons on deck that could have done the damage required, because it's taken so much LG damage. If he gets a gauntlet, that will just almost undo a lot of that or trade it off.
But also, it's Gauntlet versus Anarchy, who does not have a lot of health naturally anyway, so the Gauntlet does a lot of damage versus champions like Anarchy, like Nyx.
If you surprise him, you can one-shot him. Simple as that. Guy's down to his visor, but again, a good start from Zoot. Whenever he gets a good start, he's almost able to take all 3 champions without losing a single one of his. He just needs to get that start first.
Well, this is how he took both of his rounds in Blood Run. So he's almost, at this point, maybe safely taking his first round here too.
He's going to be able to deny that mega health, even with those rockets on deck. It's going to be a lot harder to keep Anarchy in check. Unfortunately, misses the rail.
Wow.
Zoot isn't going to miss his, though, and that's 3 straight champions. And once more, shades of what we saw on the previous map. If he can start well, he can end well.
A big thing is when he's in the lead, Zoot's rail accuracy is incredible. But 9 times out of 10, it is when he has that comfort, right? That the pressure is sort of alleviated. So perhaps it could be the less champions he has left, the more pressure starts to add up, the less confident he is in the rails themselves. But
I actually feel like it's actually like they have very similar playstyles. Gaiia is, in many ways, doing exactly the same things. He himself, when he is down, kind of struggles to get that going, but when he gets a good start, it's exactly the same thing, just switched around. And Zoot with that early rail. If you can get an early rail on these guys, and a nice prediction there. Yeah, knows he's going to go through the teleporter. And again, nice. Good catch. Another good start for Zoot. If he can keep this for 2 more rounds, he will be alive in the tournament. And a great spawn.
Immediate death. Wow, Zoot is not messing around. And once again, guy finds himself with that lone visor, just keeping himself alive. As Zoot got a spawn again.
She's going to have that totem for the health if she needs it, but at the end of the day, if you catch Kalena on a bad spawn and she only has a starter weapon, she can't really do anything to escape.
I think Zoot was standing still, and unfortunately Gaiia is going to miss that shot. Zoot going to get a return one. You know, Gaiia hasn't got any armor anymore.
The good thing for Zoot here is that he's got over more than enough health, and he's just picked up that heavy armor. And Anarchy with heavy armor is, I feel like in some ways, one of the more dangerous champions in the game to have lots of armor, because now he can tank a lot more of those wayward rails that would otherwise force him to run away from a fight. Now he can start tanking a lot more high damage shots in general. He can stick to you like glue in many ways.
It also means if you're defending against Anarchy, and he has all that armor, and he has that sort of overcharged health, you have to be a lot more accurate with those heavy hitting weaponry, right? Like,
well, there's less room for error
more rails. Yeah, you have to hit him with way more rockets. You have to lightning gun him for a lot longer.
Oops. Or if he just accidentally shoots the wall and takes away some of his armor, that will help as well. But minimal armor coming through Gaiia. All Zoot needs to do really is land one good rail and he will still be in control of the situation. Gaiia just trying to sort of deny the area rather than do damage, just try and keep him at bay with the rockets. But there we go, there's the piercing sight. Zoot knows he's now been spotted. And unfortunately another missed rail.
Doesn't look like Gaiia was able to do much with that piercing sight. Makes you wonder if Gaiia was just using it to make sure he didn't get picked off by Zoot there. Because to be fair, it did make Zoot hesitate from committing to that rail.
The dangerous thing is that now Zoot knows that it's going to be down for a long time. Piercing Sight has one of the longest cooldowns in the game next to, you know, Nick's Ghost Walk or Blazkowicz Dual Wield. It's gone for a long time, so if you're Anarchy, you pretty much have free reign to go wherever you want, as long as you're not making noise. But there we go, it's back. That means Gaiia must have had really good hourglass sort of collection. But yeah,
wow, Zoot with that massive read.
I think it's because he didn't see him move. Like, if he was trying to wait around the corner, if you saw him run around the corner, that would have made sense, but it's just good vision. You know, Zoot kind of had his eyes kept on that door frame, didn't see Visor go from right to left, so he could only have possibly been around that corner.
It's not really read, I suppose, as much as just generally good awareness, but Gaiia now starting off with Galena.
Yeah, he's gone for a different start, almost trying to sort of switch it up. Hasn't really been able to sort of compete with that Anarchy mirror, so...
Oh, hang on. Speaking of which, though, the armor immediately gone away. Zoot taking all that damage.
I think that was just a brain fart. I really do, because that was glowing red. I'm positive Zoot saw it. He just must have wanted the rail that much.
It was smart, though. Like, Zoot is getting the majority of his damage here with the rail, and Gaiia put his totem on the rail straight away.
Did some of the damage, but unfortunately Gaiia unable to capitalize. At this point, Zoot has got access to a rail and now heavy armor. There's a good rail if he just needs a couple more. But Galena herself, deceivingly tanky when she's got a lot of armor on deck.
Still though, two rails are two rails. Gaiia running away, Zoot keeping himself alive too. I think both players just trying to reset that situation, both knowing they were very low.
One of Galena's, I guess, underrated strengths as a champion is when she's got a lot of armor and a lot of health, she can tank quite a lot of damage. And
Zoot just took some totem damage there. Yeah, but luckily he had a lot of armor to sponge it.
Oh, missed the rail though. If you're going to hit a rail, you kind of really need to trade it as Anarchy and Gaiia. Not even wasting time, not even risking missing a rail. He's got an LG and a rocket launcher, and at close range, that really is all he needs.
I think though, Zoot taking the damage from that totem on re-entry, letting Gaiia know where he was able to let him get to him so quickly.
It didn't allow him to get a good start either. If you get a good start, that's because you got a lot of armor, you can survive a lot of these fights. If you lose it straight away, Zoot kind of had to reset that back to the absolute beginning, and he's taken a lot of damage, but speaking of damage, Zoot taking his fair share. Teleporting onto his own totems, that's not only going to be a good trap for the opponent, but that teleporter in itself is going to be a free health pickup because you land on it.
Oh, but a lot of cooldown reduction coming off of that mega health pickup.
He's going to have to be so careful about using that jump pad. There's a totem nearby. One around the corner as well. And if Gaiia needs, he can place another one, but there we go. That is why the totem on this map is unbelievably useful.
Right, this is that sort of like momentum game that Galena can play. When you start getting your totems on deck, I mean, we can already see the guy has two out, but they're in very effective positions already.
Again. He's going to have to be really careful actually going by near the entryway towards Mega. Obviously he hasn't decided to go this time, but is he being aggressive? I think he is.
He's trying, missed the rail though. Heavy armor coming up any second. We know that Gaiia has access to that totem for that sort of self-sustain if he wants to.
Two more on the map. I wonder if he's going to plant it upon... Yeah, he is. Now, Zoot has been consistently going for that. I don't know whether he heard the totem be activated, so then if he survives this fight, the next time Zoot goes for a teleporter, I'm not sure he's ready for it to be on the other side.
If he goes through, he might die again. He has to be very careful now. The thing is, how do you get up there? Use a jump pad and get hit by a free rail, or you make the risk of the teleporter.
Does manage to catch one. And obviously, Gaiia knows he's up there anyway, but just the knowledge of him being in that position at that time, important. But more importantly, Zoot has denied those two totems. He's got rid of them. That was a sneaky one round the corner. I like how unpredictably Gaiia is actually placing these totems as well. They're not just in key locations, they're in certain locations where if you just try and run around a corner and you're not ready, you will eat that damage.
Guy gonna have to watch out though. He's gonna know that Zoot has Ghost Walk available. You see another totem's coming up soon, but his existing one already been destroyed. Fight for heavy armor.
That rocket was actually on target, but it hit the wall, unfortunately. So with 2 HP left, Zoot does manage to get the frag. He's got a lot of work to do, but Nyx is absolutely one of those champions that can make these comebacks. Last time we saw this matchup, though, Guy was able to take it straight away with a direct rocket. The problem is it's a 1 minute, he just took a rail too, so now he's going to have to get that Mega. Fortunately, with the Mega right next to him, it does mean he can get almost straight back into the action, but no doubt we're going to see him be aggressive here. Here comes the Ghost Walk. He's gone in for the Pissing Sight, so now he knows where he is, but it doesn't matter anyway. Gaiia gets taken out from the shadows, 1-1. They're down to one last champion each. Really good frag from Zoot.
Heavy armor though, yeah, Zoot picks this up, he's going to put himself in a very good situation, and Gaiia now finds himself down on armor. 30 seconds left to go though. I mean, Gaiia had such a commanding lead, but Zoot's Nyx is just doing a great job of turning this around completely. Zoot wins this round, the series is going to be tied up too. Wow.
Absolutely fantastic shot. Here comes the Ghost Walk. I'm not sure if Gaiia saw it activated, but he's trying to sort of run safely behind a corner. Unfortunately, the Ghost Walk didn't really achieve anything, so he's not going to be able to use it if he wants to use it defensively, but Gaiia, yeah, just wasting no time, getting out of there as fast as possible.
Also pick up the Mega Health too. Is Zoot going to be able to get this heavy armor? No, Gaiia gets it too. Wow, Gaiia ran away just to get both pickups. That was very smart.
Sudden death.
So, sudden death, but
warning.
to be honest, doesn't really matter too much because regardless, because they're down to their final champion, one frag is going to decide the round no matter what happens. So, sudden death may as well not exist.
Oh, but you see them take this fight. Zoot is maxed out on his natural values. Gaiia probably still sitting on a little bit of overcharge. Oh, hang on, he gets shot. Ghost Walk is popped, he's still alive.
Gaiia with the prediction that he's going to use the jump pad. Unfortunately, he wasn't successful, so really good read from Zoot to actually stay put. Expecting Gaiia to try and chase him down, and he did just that. Zoot gets away safely, but for how long? He hasn't got a lot of health or armor left, to be honest. 75 health, even though it's max. It ain't a whole lot if your opponent's got a rail and a rocket.
Oh, Zoot being very slippery here. Gaiia desperately looking around for him. I think Gaiia happy to take that Mega Health at the time. And the heavy armor. I mean, Zoot is doing a very good job of just staying alive, but Gaiia is still controlling these big pickups.
It makes a lot of sense for Zoot to play extremely passively until he had the Ghost Walk available. If you get caught without it as Nyx, you're pretty much dead. So being careful until you've got that vital survivability tool left makes a lot of sense. Gaia's up behind him. I don't think Zoot quite heard him behind there, but Gaiia again being sort of patient in this middle ground. A little bit of free damage. Make that 2 bits of free damage. There goes the injection, but he's got no more armor. If Zoot lands these rails, which he doesn't do, if he got those rails, that would have been fantastic.
On Zoot, I mean, I think Gaiia is just making Zoot very frustrated right now. He's just being so hard to pin down. And just as Zoot gets those situations to maybe pin his health down, Gaiia is just always there to pick up both those big pickups. And now Gaiia brings himself to match point. Zoot still 1 round away from tying up the series, but if Gaiia wins this, that is it. Finished.
That's going to be all she wrote for Zoot, unless he wins this round. Now, easier said than done, but...
Oh, Gaiia went back to Anarchy.
I was just about to say, I think he almost went for that first Gaiia, that first Galena, sorry, as an element of unpredictability, but these starts have been very beneficial for Zoot before, when they've had that Anarchy mirror. So has Gaiia made a mistake going for the mirror again?
Depends how this fight goes. Looks like Zoot's committed to it. He can let him get away.
Unfortunately,
trying. Oh, he hits a rail though. Oh, and Zoot, there we go. LG more than enough damage to finish off the 6 that Gaiia had left, and he loses Anarchy immediately.
Now he's gone in for Galena. They are quite far apart in terms of spawn, so it's going to give Galena that small element of setup on the totems, but here he comes with the LG. Catches rail as well. He's got an injection if things go sour. Gets another one.
Totem save him.
Yeah, it did actually save him completely. That guaranteed 50 health can be the difference between life and death, and right there, Gaiia using it really well. Coming in with the chase.
Zoot missed the clutch rail. That would have been it for Galena. Top himself up once again with a totem. Now, every time we've seen Zoot get this first frag, he has been able to ride the momentum and take the round immediately because of it in quite swift fashion, but Gaiia using this Galena now kind of, I suppose, trying to slow things down. Those totems have already saved him twice.
That's one element too, is that you can see when your totem gets destroyed on the UI, so in some ways the totem acts almost like a UAV. If you're not quite sure where the enemy is and then they destroy a totem, you now know exactly where they are, or roughly. Nice rockets there just to keep him at bay. Is it going to be enough to deny? Doesn't want to overextend, and I agree with the decision. Don't push too hard. You've got the champion lead.
Those guys could become a lot harder to kill with all that armor. So we're able to, at very least, take the mega health in return.
Gaia's still going to tank an extra rail even before he gets some health.
Oh, wow. And you see just how quickly that health got melted down when you haven't got armor to sponge it. So he was in a lot of trouble there, but able to get away. This is kind of that Anarchy special on Ruins, just that runaway, hit and run game plan.
Stopwatch.
He's got lots of space to do so. That really is the key element on this map. Couple of good rockets, really good damage, just switching straight to the LG. Doesn't even need to risk using the rail. And Gaia almost running into the totem. Just one interesting little thing about Galena is that the totems actually, they don't disappear until you spawn. So after you've died, you actually kind of stay there for a little bit just to see if the totem does the job, and then you switch away afterwards. But Gaia down to his final champion. He, just like Zoot has when he's been on the back foot, has not been able to recover if he goes a couple of champions down. Now, he can make a comeback. You can never count anyone out with the sheer amount of damage you can output in this game if your accuracy is on point. But throughout this entire match, neither player has been able to recover from a 3 straight. And if Zoot can do the same thing, he's in a great position. He's going to tie things up 1-1. They're going to go down to the final map.
Oh yeah, we've been talking already all afternoon about the pressure. What a way to alleviate that, and knowing you now have to start again. You're evened out, and just like that, Zoot is able to easily take that frag. So we're going to be going down to our map 3, and this is just the first season of the season? The first series of the evening, I should be saying.
You can see why he picked that map, though, for sure. It just complements the way he played his team. He was very confident in the mirror, because I think if you're going to play Ruins of Sarnath, that's going to be a matchup you're going to start with quite often, is Anarchy versus Anarchy.
But I think Ruins of Sarnath is just far and away his best map. You know, we see Zoot pick that almost every single time when we see him sort of lose down and he gets to choose, and he always plays well on it. And not a big surprise to see him go back to Anarchy as well. Made a huge difference, I think. The Galena from Gaia was doing really well. It makes you sort of think why he opted not to go for Galena first in the final round 2. I think maybe things could have been a little bit different, considering how quickly he took down Zoot's Anarchy in that next round where he started off with the Galena. But like you said, maybe he was going for that unfamiliarity, maybe trying to catch him off guard, because he spawned with Galena and then put that totem straight on rail. And Zoot, unfortunately, ran straight into it, hook, line, and sinker. Well, I think he kind of just really wanted that rail desperately.
In some ways, it was good because he was going to survive it anyway, and he got the rail. It did mean that in that round in particular, he wasn't able to get started straight away. And because he got the heavy armor and then immediately jumped into it, kind of wasted that 25-second time he had to play passively until the heavy armor came back. So that 25 seconds really was all he needed to just run around and start positioning those totems again, because you're going to be collecting health, you're going to be collecting those hourglasses. They're all going to get the totems back much faster than the default cooldown time. And it was a round where when Galena can get going and she can get set up, it shows you why she's so effective on some of these maps. And I guess the champion composition will depend entirely on the map that we see, because already Gaia has been changing his team quite drastically depending on the map that we saw. And Zoot did that himself, but I feel like the Galena on Blood Run was just because we saw Blood Run. Now Corrupted Keep, is this where Gaia goes back to Sorlag? Will he go for more chunky champions? Does Zoot change, or does he go back to his classic?
Or they're going to be both running the Anarchy to start off with at the very least. Like I said, Gaia definitely runs that Sorlag quite often, and there we go, goes straight into it again. Corrupted Keep, we've already seen how powerful these big body champions can be. Corrupted Keep, let's not forget, Corrupted Keep doesn't have a rail, which is a weapon that Zoot has been lethal with thus far, and now obviously that's been taken away, and big body champions just have that sheer overwhelming intimidation, I think, just on small maps like this.
Corrupted Keep is a big boy map, and I think it's just a map that benefits those real tanky champions, but I feel like Zoot is really thinking, and I think he was really thinking about a last-minute pick. Why else would he have stayed there? If not to give himself a little bit of time to think about the matchup, was he thinking about a last-minute change to go away from his regular team? And he's done that with Clutch.
But then as soon as Zoot picked Clutch, we saw Guy go for the Blaskovich pick. So do you think maybe that was Guy's answer to if we see that? Because I think Clutch on Corrupted Keep is one of the better champion to map combinations that we've seen so far. Because Clutch just has that barrier, that chase down potential using that sort of strafe dodge, and is a nightmare with a rocket launcher, which is the most contested for weapon on this map, because with there being no rail, the rocket launcher is really that sort of go-to big burst damage weapon by itself. It very much seems to come down to rocket launcher, lightning gun. We actually see a bit of super shotgun on this map too, considering how close quarters
Particularly
it is.
with Anarchy, I think, as
Yeah.
well. Like, it benefits him really, because it's so easy for Anarchy to, around the corner, be point blank really fast.
Round begins
And super
in
shotgun with the amount of damage it can
3,
do definitely
2,
helps him. Now,
1.
when it's clutch, do we
Round
see clutch
1,
first? No, he
fight.
has gone for Anarchy first regardless. When you fight clutch first, it almost forces a specific start. You kind of need to fight for that rocket launcher, because if clutch gets the rocket first and you don't have one, and then he starts to fight you, it is very, very intimidating, because he's got this amazing weapon and he only needs the rocket launcher to start with. He doesn't need anything else. If you haven't got that, you can't compete with his damage when the shield is down. But there's the rocket. They've both got one now.
Gaiia now knows he has access to it. Zoot was trying desperately to sort of just zone him away from that rocket launcher, but can only do so for so long without throwing all your own rockets away, I think. It makes sense, though, how both players keep consistently starting off with Anarchy, though, because they both seem very momentum-based, very snowball playstyle-wise, you know what I mean? As soon as they can get that first frag, they can really start it off. Oh, wow, Zoot took a lot of damage here, but so is Gaiia.
Minimal rocket damage, 14 then 16. That's not going to be enough to really tickle Anarchy when you just pop this injection.
This is about as much of a mirror match as I think it gets. Oh, is he going to chase him? Oh, a quick defending rocket once again from Gaiia.
Wow, what a commitment. I think that was, in some ways, incredibly risky for Zoot to chase that, because if he took one extra damage rocket, he would have gone down easily, but he's caught an amazing spawn on Gaiia. Even though he's going to spawn with lots of health, he's going to be quite vulnerable to that
That's
LG.
what I mean, though. Even though Zoot did so much damage to Gaiia in that situation, it is Sorlag. He already has more health and armor immediately. Even though Zoot definitely won that sort of trade-off, Gaiia still was just that sheer health number.
Stopwatch.
Another good factor for Grub to keep, I think, is these tanky champions. If you catch them on a bad spawn, at the end of the day, they just have more health. So they're not going to be as sort of it's not dangerous for them. But Gaiia, nice awareness there to just immediately pepper that mega health with the acid. But 100 damage rocket. Zoot with a big chunk of damage down already in the fight.
Oh, yeah, there's rocket zipping past Zoot's head. Gaiia close, but no cigar.
There's that heavy armor. A great exchange for Zoot. There's quite a while until mega health's up, so Gaiia really isn't strong enough that if he tries to challenge, Zoot can't punish that heavily. Now he's got the mega as well.
I mean, this is a great situation for Zoot to be in. He seems to be controlling both of these pickups so far. But Gaiia trying to keep off the rocket, but isn't going to work. Gaiia taking a lot of damage in that situation.
And to be honest, minimal damage on Zoot. Doesn't really need to worry too much. This has been another fantastic start. You wonder if history is going to repeat itself. Can Gaiia recover when he loses the first champion?
I need him to do it if he can. He needs to do it right now. Don't be losing that first round.
This is
Oh,
looking
but
really
this
good. A
damage
nice
coming
trail. Yeah, that's it. That's all we needed. A really good trail there with the LG. And even though he got hit by the acid, just look at the fact that Zoot still has his injection. There was no way that
I mean, yeah,
going to take
Zoot
him
had
out.
injection, mega health pickup. I mean, even though Zoot took full damage from it, it wasn't ever going to matter. Catches Blaskovitz as a dual wield. Is he going to use it? Injection pop, so Zoot is kept alive again.
The dual wield to try and deny. He's going to commit him with the 2 nail guns. Still not taking a huge amount of damage. Zoot very comfortable.
I mean,
in that first
ultimately,
round.
though, the nail gun, just not an ideal weapon to be stuck with when doing the dual wield, but I just don't think he had anything better in the situation. Zoot did catch him very early. Zoot has actually been good with that all morning, though, catching spawns and making those predictions on when they get or where they're going to be. And Zoot's consistently doing well in that situation, but Gaiia was put down with just the nail gun, and that's not really what you want with the Blaskovitz. Super shotgun comes through, Zoot with the brave play here.
Going in for the injection, and really good catch on the mid-air. Gaiia kind of steering straight into that one, but really good exchange there from Zoot. Went into the super shotgun a little bit to try and take that early damage, changed his
Zoot
mind.
just really laid on the pressure there, and it all came from a super shotgun of anything too.
A big part of that, I think, was great awareness, and that was a good shot too, but just good awareness of the lack of weaponry that Gaiia actually had at the time.
Wow, Zoot able to secure... No, yeah, I think he did get the pickup.
Wonder how much it's going to matter though, because he has no armor. Yeah, he's got to get out of there. Guy almost beat him to it too, when he had that really good, really nice sort of rocket jump to get that initial boost of speed. Did beat him to it, but wasn't quite able to collect it at the last possible second. Because I think if he got Mega Health, that would have been a frag, like outright. Zoot would have been 2 champions down. We are yet to actually see Zoot's clutch as well. Really interested to see how he performs with this champion. We haven't seen him use it before, at least in a competitive sense.
Truthfully though, Nick's definitely not a particularly, I don't want to say damaging champion outside of like the normal stuff, right? Obviously like neither her passive or ability are sort of built for damage. It's going to take Zoot quite a while to chip down Gaiia if he stacks himself up properly. But he caught him on a good read of where he's going to be going. The acid is forced out of Gaiia already. It connected though. Is that going to be it?
Oh! I hadn't really seen Zoot go for his Ghost Walk. So I wondered if he was saving it for when he got hit by the acid, but I think he might have used it to try and just sort of safely get away from that lightning gun situation when he was kind of stuck by the wall. So often you see Nick's players save it, but Zoot, look at how stacked Zoot is at this stage. So much health, so much armor, and I'm yet to see him use a shield wall as well. There it is, it comes out. He's being aggressive, he's going in for the chase. Minimal damage for Gaiia, and he gets fragged. That is why Clutch is dangerous on Corrupted Keep.
Indeed, but now we can see Gaiia with that Blaskovich left, and Gaiia did pick this immediately upon seeing Zoot go for Clutch, so Gaiia must be confident in this.
He's going to have to be careful, because the dual wield will shred Clutch, but only when the shield wall is down. So he's going to have to force Zoot to get rid of the shield wall first, and then afterwards go in for that dual wield for the big damage.
Yeah, it's almost like a game of chicken, right? So whoever activates that ability first is going to be in that situation to fight.
And then he goes in for the LG, doesn't even need the rocket. Really well played from Zoot, and just a good awareness of when to go in. It's something he's done this whole time. He's on match point now. If he can ride this momentum, yeah, I agree, Gaiia. This is 100% crunch time, and he knows it more than anyone.
But this is it, though. Zoot needs one more round. I mean, we've already seen players unable to make full, like, 3 champion comebacks when they're on the back foot.
Zoot is able to deny the rocket. He gets it first, and Gaiia gets fragged already. That is 3 rounds in a row. He has been unable to get that rocket, and it's been so unfortunate for him.
I actually love the change of pace from Zoot, though. I mean, we don't usually see him go for that aggressive first frag, but in this situation, he could tell, Gaiia realized what was on the line, and Zoot determined to just lay on that pressure as thick as possible right away to put Gaiia in that stressful situation, and that's exactly what he's done.
Well, many of these players, they've been competing in Quake for many, many years across many different titles of Quake in particular, and
oh dear,
they've been in this situation. He's going in, commits to it, but Gaiia with the answer back. That might have been the lifeline that he needs.
It was. I mean, if Zoot got that frag, that by itself could have been GG by itself, but Gaiia once again able to get that defensive rocket return frag, and Zoot walks straight into another one. This could be what Gaiia needs to make the full comeback.
I almost saw maybe Gaiia was a little bit tilted after getting that early frag. He said GG in chat. He did not think that the win was possible after losing Anarchy so early, but look at this, 2-2. They've both got 2 champions left.
Was able to take out Zoot's Nyx last time just with the acid spit by itself, so Gaiia can definitely get this frag.
I definitely reckon we're going to see Zoot saving his Ghost Walk for if he gets hit by the acid spray. Definitely doesn't want to lose to acid ticking again, especially with this much on the line.
Now though, Zoot back to the wall, nowhere to run now.
We're back here, but Gaiia trying to use the wall as cover this time. He took a lot of damage in that last round trying to do this situation. Right now you can see Gaiia doesn't even want to try and challenge that long range. Instead, he's just going to try and get stacked back up. And stacked he is. Look at how much he's got.
Wow, I think if Zoot didn't Ghost Walk there, he might have just killed himself, but he was alive. And Gaiia, a lot of health to go. Is he going to chase? We see Zoot very low. Zoot must be on less than 5 health right now.
Yeah, he could not be any weaker. He's got to be so careful now, but look how close they are. And just a single trail of LG will do it. But
oh no,
he's in the lava!
Gaiia almost killing himself there, melting himself in the little feet.
That would have been a horrendous way to die. But he does manage to get away. The problem is, though, minimal health. He does get mega health, but it's too risky. He's opting to go for the small pickups instead. That is going to allow Zoot to pick up the mega, though.
I'm so happy Gaiia didn't accidentally kill himself there. Can you imagine how hard it would have been to bring yourself out of that situation?
With 3 health to spare, he is going to be all the way back up to healthy. And it's very important that he survived that exchange. I mean, he was half a second away from going out there. He would have been down to just his Blaskovich.
Yeah, Gaiia saw him fall down, expected him to use a teleporter, but Zoot just intelligently not going to be going for it. Keeping himself as safe as possible. Gaiia once again gets the mega health.
There's no reason for him to overextend. That really is the important thing. If you can stay out of range of Sorlag to avoid the acid spit, but hang on. Here comes Zoot. Has he got Ghost Walk available to soak it? He has. He goes in for the attack. Can he get him before? Going in for the gauntlet in case. He got 2 health pickups, but it's not going to be enough. Zoot gets the LG, and now Gaiia. This is do or die. His last chance. He has to make this comeback.
This is Gaia's last life. Blazkowicz has to take out Clutch and Nyx. He has the damage to do it, but has to be very careful. If he uses his dual wield to take out Nyx, he will not have it for Clutch.
If he takes out Zoot's Nyx, he must get a good spawn on the Clutch. He cannot allow Clutch to get going. He can't let Clutch get any form of health item. He cannot let him get a rocket launcher.
But he has to take out Nyx first. Well, we can tell Gaiia really wants this frag. 11 health. There we go. This is really crunch time now. How does Gaiia deal with this Clutch? This champion that has been such a problem.
He's caught him on spawn. Trying to do that
yeah, Zoot already very healthy. Heavy armor coming up soon. If Zoot picks up this heavy armor, it's going to be very difficult, and he does get it.
We can say a guy is going to be sort of really commanding. I think the next call to action is going to be to look at that rocket launcher. Unfortunately, by collecting Mega,
for sure.
Yeah, by collecting that Mega, he has actually allowed Zoot to get the rocket launcher completely uncontested. But in some ways, you feel like it was a good trade. He's now going to be nice and healthy, but he's going to have to be so careful. If he gets point blank, he will have the advantage with that shield wall and rocket combined.
Well,
it's so hard to deal with.
Zoot has just become the final boss for Gaiia. Oh, wow. The fight was forced out, but wasn't able to commit. Oh, wow, 100 damage. This is what he needs. The barrier is popped.
Oh no, he got heavy armor. That might have been game over. He allowed him to pick up the armor, and that might be enough.
No, he gets away. Zoot lets him escape. Once again, Zoot stacking up. And like I was saying before they so rudely interrupted me with the fight, this is final boss situation. Zoot has a rocket launcher. He has loads of health. He has loads of armor. Gaiia, this is absolutely as hard as it's going to get. Dual wield, the barrier is up too.
It's a direct counter. He's going straight through. He's just waiting out the time completely, and here comes Zoot. 27 HP. He is in so much danger right now, but look at how weak both of them are. Neither of them can fight.
But Gaiia immediately gets the heavy armor.
5 minutes.
I think that heavy armor.
Oh, mega health goes to Zoot too. This is a nail-biting end. He catches him out. Zoot losing actually only 34 damage from those rockets though.
That was such a close last-minute situation.
But you just look at the cooldown time. Dual wield still so far away from being up.
On the flip side, though, I'm willing to bet Zoot's got his shield wall ready. So if he can catch Gaiia without that, might be all right. But he's in danger now. Forced to use his shield wall defensively, but he is not in a great situation. It's going to be quite difficult for Zoot to get away from that, but Gaiia trying to reset that situation back to get the mega health instead.
I mean, if anything, though, Gaiia is going to know that Zoot used the barrier to secure the heavy armor.
And now he's
he
got
has
dual
double wield. If he can get a fight now and doesn't give Zoot room to escape, he will probably quite, I don't want to say simply take the frag, but be in a better case to do so than he has had the opportunity to do so far.
The longer it takes for him to get this fight, at this stage, Zoot might have it, and he does indeed. Does he push? Not too heavy. Going in for the rocket jump to try and survive, and no! Does damage to himself with 16 health left and 5 armor. I think that rocket jump was a mistake.
That really was a clutch, like instant final time to make that decision. Rocket jump, because rocket jumping when you're playing as most of the champions in the game does a lot of damage to yourself, and when you have that fight and Zoot was there with the barrier up ready to hurt him and you make the decision, do I stay on the floor and be an easier target to get hit here from above, because Zoot was shooting down onto him, so it was the decision of do I stay down here and be an easier target and maybe get taken out easier, or do I make this ballsy decision and rocket jump up, hurt myself in the process, but be a bit more unpredictable? But Zoot just did not let him get away with it at all.
At the last possible minute, I think you understand why he would have done it, because as you just said, right, it's if I'm going to commit to this fight and I'm in a fight that I might not be able to get away from, because I guess on one hand he might have been able to try and get away or just try and sort of go towards mega health room just to have that sort of cover behind him, but Clutch will chase that down, especially when he had that shield all up top. At the end of the day, I just think the damage he did to himself almost sealed his fate, because he rocket jumped and had basically 40 HP left. And if you're on Corrupted Keep and you're that close with a rocket launcher, a 40 damage rocket is unbelievably likely. But that does mean that Zoot will be moving on to the EU Regionals. He was here in week 1 in top 16, lost to Vu, unfortunately. Wasn't able, as far as I'm aware, he wasn't really able to play or was commentating in week 3, so he was at least not able to play in the top 16. So he sort of had that final week to play, and he did manage to get it, and he's qualified among the rest of the EU talent that will be playing in the regionals to decide who makes it to QuakeCon. So huge congratulations to him. Gaiia, we've seen you every week, mate. Thank you for getting as far as you did, and you had such a good fight. You made Zoot work for it, but unfortunately this is where the Quake World Championship ends.
I think it very much has come full circle for Zoot. Let's not forget, he did make top 16 in week 1, all the way back. I say all the way back, 4 weeks ago during the first.
Still quite a while ago in hindsight with a new game.
Of course, especially for these guys. But Zoot able to get top 16 week 1. Unfortunately, that's where it ended for him at the time. And here, you know, fast forward the clock to a few weeks, and here we are in the final week. And Zoot once again playing first match of the morning, afternoon, whatever time it is,
definitely
wherever
first,
you may be.
It's first match of the morning for us, and it's first match of the morning for Zoot. So it's early games, boys. But that does mean that our first series of the night, be it was a long one, is now over, and we have the rest of our matches good to go. We have 7 more to determine who's going to qualify for the EU Regionals for this final week. And while we prepare the match, we're going to go for a quick break. We'll be right back.